Today's guest has come all the way from Brazil. What, from your perspective, excites you most about the Indian healthcare scenario today?
No, the scenario in India is amazing, right? I think that we were seeing how much innovation is being done in the country.
So I'm welcoming. What is it that Pfizer is doing in AI? Can you share?
A lot, right? So we are using AI on the development of medicines and vaccines, and the R&D team is working a lot on that.
Hello and welcome to Pills in a Pod. If you've been a regular viewer in this show, you'd know that I normally start by saying Pills in a Pod is a show about healthcare leaders, game changers, and change makers. But today I'm going to make a small change in that. Pills in a Pod today is a show covering international healthcare leaders, game changers, and change makers. Today's guest has come all the way from Brazil. She's just short of 1 year to complete 25 years in a very large MNC, and this is her first time in India. So I'm welcoming Cristiane Blanch. Chris, namaste and welcome to India.
Thank you so much, Ali. I'm so happy to be here with all of you and happy to have the opportunity to talk and to be in India. I was dreaming about visiting India for many years, so happy to have the chance to be here in this beautiful country.
We're very excited to have you here, Chris, on Pills in a Pod. And I'd love to start by asking, where do you come from? Where were you born? Early years, school, college, and a snapshot of your career before Pfizer.
So I was born in São Paulo, but actually my parents came from Bahia, which is a state in the north part of the country. My dad came there when he was 18 years old, trying to build a new pathway for the entire family. So he came there. So I still have a lot of my family in Bahia. Actually, my grandpa, who is 99 years old.
Oh my God.
Still lives there. So I go there from time to time, but I'm based in São Paulo. Born there, have two sisters, married with two kids, actually a girl that is 18 years old.
Lovely.
Just got in college.
Oh.
And a boy, 15 years old. Loving what I do and living in São Paulo was something that I think that really changed our family, right? My father and my mom, they were trying to have a different life for us. We were the first ones to go to college, so my father and my mom were not able to. So it was really building a different pathway for the family. So thinking a little bit about that, like them coming from Bahia to São Paulo, raising their kids, and now me being here in India is such a long journey, but a very happy one, and I'm super excited with that. And maybe a little bit about my graduation. I'm a journalist by graduation, but I got a post graduation in public relations as well. I had that idea that I was gonna cover all things all over the world and be out there. And I'm actually doing that, on the healthcare space, right? Yes. I worked before on the technology business in a company called Tricom and some other ones. And then I moved to the pharmaceutical industry, which we're going to talk a little bit more about it. But since then, I think that I was able to connect the passion that I had as going to the college as a journalist, trying to do something good for the world with the healthcare aspect, right? So I think that is where my passion and purpose were connected, and that is why I love so much working in health.
Lovely, and that's a very inspiring story, Cristiane. Thank you so much. You're here in India, first time, like you're saying, you've gone to Delhi, now you're in Mumbai, and you're saying that, it's a very different experience, I'm sure. I'm sure the Pfizer office where you are is very different and the vibe in the India office is very different. So what's that difference? And, what's your agenda here?
Yeah, great. Yeah, it is different in a way. There are some similarities. Now, we were even saying today that many offices are copying what we have here in the Mumbai office. I really love the internet, the connection with nature and all the areas that in a way show that, which is good, right? We really need to connect to the earth. So I think that aspect really brought my attention. And I think that the idea of this visit is, as you know, I'm been handling the emerging markets policy and comms since last year. And I was telling the team that you really need to be out there to know more and really understand what India is about and help our team drive what we need to drive so we can really deliver the breakthroughs that we have.
Absolutely.
So I'm doing some external engagements, meeting stakeholders externally, a lot of engagements with the internal team, really trying to see how can I support from the emerging markets level the India team so we can really succeed here. That's the idea.
Thank you. And I'm going to go a little deeper into that over the next few minutes. Cristiane, you've spent a year short of 25 years in Pfizer, right? And you've gone across comms, you've gone across policy, corporate affairs. What has kept your purpose and passion alive through all these years?
I think that when I first came to Pfizer, and I told you I was working in the technology sector, it was such a different thing. Like when I was back then, like a product would be old in 6 months, right? And now here we have like 10 years to bring an innovation to the market. So it was very different. But I think that really showing the impact that we have in health, it's what drives my passion about it, right? And I don't see myself in another industry right now. I really love doing health because it impacts everyone, right? It impacts ourselves, our families, societies, governments, everybody. So I think that passion to make the difference, really seeing what we are discovering, becoming a reality and changing someone's life is really what is driving me. And navigating all these comms efforts, policy, corporate affairs, I think it showed that we really need to have that ecosystem that support innovation and support healthcare. And I know India is still a young country. We are seeing other countries getting older very quickly. And I think we are going to face this in India as well. So how can we be prepared and think that the healthcare decisions that we are taking today is really going to shape what we are going to be tomorrow, right? So that is what is really drives my passion, and I really love working for health. I'm really passionate, and as I said, I think it connected to that purpose of changing someone's life, right? And if we do that for one person, it already really made a difference, right?
That's a fantastic why.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, very few people can actually find their why in their life. And I'm glad you found that. I'm still discovering mine, so it's going to take a while for that. Because I want to now move on to ask you that today's healthcare conversations, they're not just about medicines, right? They're about trust, they're about policy, they're about equity, they're about access. Why has this changed over the past few years?
It really changed, right? And I think the world is changing and how we approach healthcare in general. I think in the past, it was about the pill, about the shot.
Yes.
And now it's much more than that, right? And when we think about in Pfizer's case, if we have a new vaccine or a new medicine and it doesn't really reach patients' arms or it doesn't go to the ones that are designed for, doesn't make sense, right? So that is why we need to have that broader conversation about access, about awareness, information, the ecosystem that needs to be there. And we were actually in an event yesterday with startups that we are supporting in one of our innovation programs, talking a little bit more about how this ecosystem needs to be created so we can really make the difference. So it is relevant, right? It makes sense. It's really making the difference. And we are not able to do that if we are by ourselves, right? So that kind of connection, creating that bridge among stakeholders. So we really will be focusing on what really matters. It's essential. And I think that everyone in that equation, like pharma companies, government, media, society, physicians, every patient groups, everybody that is under, that is really talking about healthcare is understanding that kind of network is really necessary to make the difference and to drive the results for complex diseases that we are going to face in the future, right? I think that we still have a lot of NCDs topics that we need to approach, a lot of challenges that we need to face in the healthcare system as a role. So if we don't act together, we are not going to find a solution. So I think that kind of perspective changed for everybody.
Yeah. And Chris, I think you played a very important role in COVID. So what was that? Can you tell us a little about that?
Yeah. I did it specifically in Brazil. I was leading the Brazil team at that time. So there was a lot of initiatives that we did locally, aiming to support the fight against COVID in Brazil, providing our vaccine there, but also helping them navigate that moment that we had a lot of fake news, a lot of misinformation. There was such a a difficult moment, right? I think that for everybody in a personal level, and I think that was what triggered also that change that we were talking about, because you could really see the economic impact that a society that is not healthy can bring, right?
Yes.
I think that everybody says, can we really show the economic impact of healthcare? And sometimes it's hard, but during COVID, we were able to see the opposite, right? How a sick society, it's really gonna jeopardize all the wealthy, all the good that we can have in the world. So I think that navigating that moment was very challenging, of course, but it was also an opportunity to learn what we can do better, right? And I think that as companies, but also everyone that faced that moment, we need to never forget and think, how can we prepare ourselves to navigate that scenario in a better way? So it was a hard experience, but sometimes I say that it was like a PhD navigating that entire moment, right? Yeah.
I think it exposed these countries' vulnerability to what a threat can do to you, right? And I think India also had a very similar situation, like most countries. And that's why now, if you see, India is rapidly changing to not just an innovation hub, but also, and not just a pharmaceutical powerhouse. So what, from your perspective, excites you most about the Indian healthcare scenario today?
No, the scenario in India is amazing, right? I think that we were seeing how much innovation is being done in the country, and we are actually navigating that with our R&D efforts locally, which are super important. Clinical trials advancing a lot as well, and we are also part of that. So I think this is also a very important discussion. We were also seeing how much state efforts are being deployed, and we were Goa, as you know, is advancing on adult immunization, which is such a great thing. So we are seeing a lot of pilots ongoing in the country that can be taken to the federal level in the future. So there is a lot of excitement. I think that the most important thing is how we are seeing how everybody's understanding that we don't have a one solution fits or solves everything. In India, it's such a diverse country, so many languages, so many states, so many huge populations. So we need to think in a personalized way, right? How can we really solve issues that are really critical to some parts of the population? But at the same sense, how can we escalate them, right? How can we make them more usable in other countries? And just to give an example, there is an AMR initiative that we are doing here. There is a potential to bring there to Ghana in the future. So there are those conversations about efforts that are being done here so successfully that we can explore not only in India, but across the world. So we need to showcase those efforts more, so we can really use those examples locally more, but also abroad.
Fantastic. And we talk a lot about AMR in this country. We talk a lot about adult immunization. And Pfizer globally also speaks a lot about breakthroughs to change patients. I saw a picture of you on LinkedIn against a beautiful backdrop. It says changing 1 billion lives every year. Now, India itself is a country of 1.4 billion
exactly.
So you to change lives here. But how do you ensure that these mission on a wall basically translates into real impact and in a diverse market like India?
And that is why the collaboration part is so essential, right? We cannot do that by ourselves. So I think that creating that ecosystem, really being a company that can be the bridge among stakeholders, it's essential. And like the adult immunization is an example of that, right? The amazing work that the Goa government is doing there on that front. How can we support them in that effort? It is something that we need to be open, and we need to be there co-creating. I think that the co-creation part is what makes the whole thing different, right? Because when we are co-creating, everybody's involved, everybody feels that they can contribute, and they feel empowered to do, right? If we come up with a solution and just deliver that, you're not going to really feel that you are part of that you really is really committed, right? So I think that having that kind of co-creation aspect in many of the efforts that we are doing is what is going to make the difference.
And that's a good point, because people say now that you don't break what you build.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
if you're
That's
part
it.
of that
Yeah.
cause, you take more ownership
Yeah.
towards that cause. And that's
Yeah.
a fantastic idea to co-create.
Yeah.
So now Pfizer has been working on initiatives. I mean, we talked about AMR awareness.
Yeah.
We talked about the two big O's, which is obesity and oncology.
Yeah.
We also talk about sanitation, innovation, rural healthcare outreach.
Yeah.
What kinds of social impact initiatives do you believe will bring the biggest changes, not in India, but around the world, especially emerging markets that
Yeah.
you...
Yeah. I was discussing with the team a little bit about that, and sometimes there is one solution again, right? One kind of project, one kind of initiative that we could do, but I think it's pretty much like a mix
Yes.
of efforts. Like, so as you're saying, like the AMR initiative is one example. It's amazing, and it's really addressing one key topic that we have in India, but not only in India, we have that in all over the world. So bringing that to other countries is super important. And we were discussing how can we leverage more of what we are doing in countries like India to other countries so they can learn. And we don't need to recreate the wheel, right? We can learn and, of course, adapt for the local needs, but do that in a better way. Of course, the philanthropic work is still super important, and we need to be doing that. But I think that creating initiatives that we think we can make them sustainable is key. So that is why the co-creation part is so important, right? If we are able to involve different stakeholders in those projects, like the startups, the innovation one. We are actually going to Satara this Friday.
Satara?
Yeah.
I'm glad you know the name.
Yeah. I hope I pronounced it correctly.
I think you pronounced it better than most Indians do.
But we are going there to see, as I told, we support some startups on this innovation initiative. And the idea is to see those projects really be implemented in the field, right? What that really means. So have that kind of opportunity to see that on the ground, and also how they are escalating that so it is sustainable. So in the future, if we are not able to be there or another partner is there, that doesn't die, right? That really is part of that community. It's super important. And I think that the educational piece is important as well, right? So really educating the stakeholders that are part of that initiative, making them understand how this can be institutionalized in a way, embedded in the system, so it is part of that. That is critical, because we do need to think about sustainability, right? I think no one wants to do something that is not going to be there in 10, 20 years, right? That's the point.
And since you touched upon it, I'd like to know, what are these medtech startups that you are supporting? And
there are a lot of them. Actually, one of them just got an approval yesterday by FDA. One of their devices and mobile apps to support diagnosis for some treatments, cardiovascular diseases and abdominal diseases. So this is just one example, but there are efforts on cervical cancer, on immunization as well. So many projects, and of course, the team can share more details. But I think it's unbelievable how creative they are. How much they are defending innovation. I think that is also something very important. We were in a discussion yesterday, and they were talking about how can they think about solutions that are sustainable, that mean something for the society, that are really scalable, right? So that can be used in other venues, and that kind of the opportunity to share as Pfizer what we see as a big company, right? That has experience in R&D and developing solutions to startups that are just starting. It's amazing.
Exciting.
I think that they share with us that passion of like trying to do and really solving problems, and we share that kind of experience from previous experiences, what we have done, what worked, what didn't work. And we know that in healthcare, this is so important, right? We really need to, as we are talking about lives, we need to make sure that we are delivering the best solution. So that kind of joint effort with them, it's amazing. You need to see, you need to visit some of those.
Love to learn more. You must have heard of Shark Tank, obviously. We have our own version of Shark Tank in India, and we see a lot of innovations. A lot of them are in health. So it's a lot of, I think it's a very exciting time to be here in India.
Yes, it is, really is.
Chris, I was going again through your LinkedIn, and I saw that you actively participate in this organization called She Talks, and you're also a winner of the leadership. Can you tell us a little about that? And also I wanted to emphasize on, because we're on that topic, women leadership.
Yes.
And what is your point of view on inclusivity in large organizations?
I started working in D&I efforts back in 2008.
Lovely.
1 year after I had my daughter, we had some initial initiatives at Pfizer. It was an eye-opening moment for me
Sure.
as a leader. I was actually a manager at the time,
Okay.
but learning more about the importance of diversity in the organizations was very eye-opening. And since then, I've doing many efforts aiming to support women to really fulfill their whole potential in organizations, in the professional life, but also in the personal life. So the effort with leadership is a little bit about that. So this is an organization that is doing that kind of diversity efforts across the pharmaceutical industry. It was actually formed by women that were leading companies in the pharma sector. Some presidents, directors that they start getting together. And there is a very interesting anecdote. One of them, they said that when she was many years ago, she was nominated as a director for a business unit, and she went to the trade association meeting, and she went there, and there was no woman bathroom.
Oh, wow.
She was like, why they don't have a woman bathroom here? So that is what that was about, right? Like building that kind of knowledge about the world is diverse. We have like 55% of the population is women, especially when we are talking about healthcare. Yes. Women is the driver of healthcare, right? Yes. Usually they are the ones driving the health of the family, really make sure that everybody's safe and well. So bringing that to the organizations makes sense, right? Yes. When we are talking about healthcare. Yes. In general. So that is what leadership is about. So I'm a volunteer since 4 years ago. We do a lot of efforts, a lot of events, and She Talks is one of yes. the events that we are doing now in August, actually. And the idea is that doing those events, we bring a little bit of data on how the pharmaceutical industry in Brazil is doing in terms of diversity, and try to brainstorm what can we do more, right? How can we support women so they can really have a bigger participation in high levels of the organization? How can we help the pipeline, so the women that are entering in the industry, so they can really know that they can grow and become a CEO, become a director, really being out there, and without losing what we have as women, right? Without needing to jeopardize other things that we value, really trying to find the balance between all of them. And I think this is super important. We see data from Harvard, from many universities. We see that companies that are more diverse, they have better results because they are really considering what is needed, right, by the society. So if, again, we are bringing a medicine for breast cancer, we need to have women within the company that knows what is the journey, right?
Yes.
How a woman really, what she understands about the disease, how they have their diagnosis, what are the barriers, what are the opportunities. So I think that having that kind of representation beside the company make like Pfizer and the other companies more able to really address the needs. Yes. And as we were talking about collaboration, everything, we need to have that internally as well, right? We need to have diverse views internally so we can really deliver the breakthroughs that we are bringing to the world. So it's super important to have all kinds of diversities. Of course, in Brazil, there are other diversities that we work on the racial part. There is also disabled that we work. There is the aging part that is something new that we are working right now. So we have a younger population coming to the companies. At the same time, an older population, people are working for many years now. Yeah. So how we are going to handle this whole diversity and take the best of each one, right? I think we can.
Yes,
right? I think
absolutely.
we really can. Yeah.
And that's very beautiful, and it gives me a lot of pride to say that in India, we see a lot of women in corporate offices. I think that's very fresh. And like you correctly said, they bring a lot of empathy into, the pharmaceutical industry, which sometimes can be very transactional, but here it can bring a lot of touching lives in a more meaningful way. Yeah. And, even at Pills in a Pod, we've had some beautiful women leaders who come and express their view. And I was specifically told not to call them women leaders, but call them leaders.
Yes. Agreed. It doesn't need to make a difference, right? At the end, right?
Yes.
Agreed. But happy to know that. And I was in the office today, and I was so happy to see that. We were in a meeting yesterday in a hospital, and we have just one man, Sharad, from our team, and then all women there. So it was super funny, and that was something that when you were talking about pandemic time in Brazil, the group that was leading all the COVID efforts in Brazil, it was all formed by women.
Wow!
So it was like a group of 7 women arriving meetings and leading that. So yeah, it was very, very, very inspiring to see that.
Lovely to know that the tables turned eventually.
Yeah.
Chris, what qualities will future leaders need to imbibe in the next 10 years if they want to build a career in emerging markets specifically?
And in healthcare, you think?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's hard to think about 10 years, right? With the world changing so much lately, AI coming and playing a big place in all that we are doing. But I think that curiosity is like the big thing. We need to be out there, connecting with people, learning more about learning more about new realities, new ways of doing things. I think that sometimes we are pretty much in our world, and especially with social media right now, with all the algorithms, you are just seeing people that are like you, people that think like you. So you need to be out there, right?
Yes.
So I think that curiosity is key, resilience as well, navigating this environment that is changing all the time, flexibility, and again, coming back to the resilience, make sure that you don't give up, right? I think that when we think about history, we have a lot of leaders that never gave up. They were trying until the end, and I think this is something that we need to do as future leaders. I think that the AI piece is something that is very important, and we don't need to be afraid of that. We need to think, how can we use that on our to support us, right? And especially if we want to be more out there, how can AI help us on the daily work on like for us creating materials, talking points, efforts, or like analyzing a study, getting the key results, so we can be out there talking about that, right? So having that time to study, to learn, to discuss, to talk to people, and really have those connections. I really think that with all that AI is bringing, that personal connection is what is going to make the difference in the future. Yeah,
absolutely. I think compassion is one of the biggest things that people will need once AI starts doing most of our tasks.
Empathy, as you said, right? Really, I agree.
And it's funny, Chris, when I was sitting last night and I was thinking that I don't have a question on AI for you. And I was wondering if I could just bounce one question.
Of course, let's go.
So what is it that Pfizer is doing in AI? Can you share?
A lot, right? So we are using AI on the development of medicines and vaccines, and the R&D team is working a lot on that. But talking specifically about our area, policy and comms, we are also, I'm a big fan of AI. I use that during the day, every day, for many things, right? So of course, there is that use of meetings, like catching up, the recap a meeting, what is needed, what are the key things that we are doing. But I'm actually using that a lot to analyze stuff. Like,
lovely.
Like I'm coming to a meeting to talk to a stakeholder. What are the key points that are out there about that topic that I need to be aware? What are the questions that can come up from them that I need to be prepared? What are the points that I'm not viewing that can help me? Or thinking about the future? What are the trends that are coming next that we need to work now, right? So we can address that. So there is a lot of internal use, and we are really having some trainings for teams so they can know the capabilities that are what we can do with that, and I think that we are progressing. There is much more to do, but I think we are now using AI more to support us to do our work in a better way. So just to give an example, like we are working on a study back in Brazil to talk about the financial investments for the healthcare system, right? So we have a big study, and we had a visit last week, and I said, I got that study on Copilot and asked for the 3-4 points that I really needed to deliver on that, right? Because there is so much content out there, and if I had to do that by myself, I would be reading the whole thing for like 2-3 hours, trying to think about that. Of course I can do that, but if I do that with Copilot so quickly, I then can do a deep dive in those points that are more critical. So just an example on how can we use that. But of course, on the R&D part, on manufacturing, on all those areas, there is much more that Pfizer is doing.
Chris, I want to follow up on that question, and I want to ask you, what is India doing in AI? Are we ahead? Are we catching up with you? Are we supporting you?
Yes, there is a lot of work going on in India with AI. Actually, here in the office, we have a group of over 100 colleagues working on AI specifically, supporting more than 100 countries on data analytics, on many efforts. So there is a lot of happening here in AI. And I think we can do more. I think India is as we were talking in the beginning, it's a really driver of innovation. So the whole world is counting on the capabilities that we have on the ground, and there is a specific group here in India for Pfizer specifically doing that kind of support that is helping other countries better understand the data. As I was saying, we have so much data. I think that the whole point about AI is what are the right questions that we are doing for that. To have a better use of all this data, right? So I'm super happy to have a big team here supporting that and supporting not only India but also other countries in that navigating that momentum.
I mean, everybody's been talking about these global capability centers. I'm glad to know that you have one right here, and we are the tech capital of the country.
Yes.
Chris, while we've touched this topic, just for our audience, global capability centers today are headlines everywhere. What do they really do, and what are they doing at Pfizer for you?
Yeah, so as we were talking about AI, we have these centers here in India supporting other efforts for all over the world. So regulatory strategy is one of them that is actually based in India, supporting the whole world. We also have that for logistics. We have that for drug safety, which is something that, is super critical for a company like us. So many things happening from here, supporting the world. So as I said, we have a long history in India, right? We are here for almost 75 years, if I'm not mistaken. And we can really...
175 years.
175 is all over the world. Yeah.
75 is India.
75 in India, exactly. And we are really part of the country, right? And when we have those centers here, when we have all that we are delivering to patients, but not only... I think that the point is that we are not just supporting the country or supporting the country in delivering our vaccines and medicines. We are doing more, right? We are doing much more. We are supporting CSR initiatives. We are part of the society. We are helping startups thinking about different projects that have nothing to do with what we do. We have those centers like helping bringing that human capability from India to the world. So I think those efforts really shows the commitment that we have in the country, right, with the country.
Super. And from what I understand is that you don't have just one capability center here. You have one in Chennai. I think you tied up with IIT. I think you have about 200 scientists over there. That's a lot of work that's happening over there. Very interesting. Thank you for your commitment to that.
A lot of work.
So, Chris, today's conversation has been very eye-opening for me because while I normally cover Indian leaders and things like that, this has been a very global perspective to the conversation, and I think I've learned a lot today. And I want to now go into something more personal to you. Can you tell us, Chris, what personally inspires you? What grounds you?
So the work that we are doing, of course, is something that inspires me. But my family, by being with them, and as I told you, seeing my grandpa. Almost being 100. He's going to be 100 next February. So I'm planning. Exactly. So it shows me that I have so many years ahead, hopefully, and to do so many things. So I think that being with my family and friends, being out there in the world, like seeing the whole world is something that really inspires me. And also having that, we were talking about those connections on the professional side of my life, but I do that in the personal side as well. Like, how can I be around friends, be around persons that motivate me in doing more? And there is something that I love to do, which is run. I'm actually did some marathons, so I really I like those long races, and we kind of create like a group of friends that are doing that together,
Lovely.
traveling all over the world to do some races. So I knew that there is a half marathon here and in Delhi as well. So I need to see dates and try to come to do that. But I think that that kind of having like a passion, like a personal passion, and for me, running is that. I think that motivates you, give you a personal objective aside from the family, from the work. It is something that you do just with yourself, and running specifically, it's something that you get better if you have discipline, motivation, and you see that you can do it, right? I think that is something that is so powerful about the human body. Is that if you train for something and really think that you can do it, you really can. So I think that is also something that really inspires me. I was in Tokyo last March. I did a marathon there. So I took my whole, it's always an excuse to visit some place nice, take my family. So it is something that I really love to do.
I'm very happy to meet a fellow marathoner, though I can't boast a lot about it. I've done half marathons, but I trained for a full marathon once, but I kind of injured myself. But you must run the Mumbai Marathon. It's got one of the best vibes in the country. It's probably my favorite day in the whole year.
Really? Everybody goes to the street to see?
Oh, yes. So and nice. They serve food and it's a festival. It is not just a marathon. And it's one day that makes me very, very proud of my country.
And you know, this is something that we always say. If you don't believe, if you want to really believe in a human being, you need to be at the end of a marathon race once.
True.
To see people like doing their best to achieve something, really trying to find that kind of strength within it. I have so many friends that went there just to see, and then after that said, I need to do that. I need to run. So it really shows you how powerful someone can be, and it's amazing. Yeah. I need to come. I'll come.
Thank you. That's a goosebump moment. If the camera can focus on that, they will actually see the goosebumps on my face. Because, I really resonate with what you said. That finish line of the marathon is a true test of human endurance.
Yes. Yeah, agree.
Chris, I think my last question to you. Are you relieved?
No, it was so fast. Yeah,
absolutely. This will be useful for people who want to build a career. If a young professional in India wants to build a career in healthcare policy, communication, public affairs, what advice would you give them? Long pause.
Long pause, right? Yeah. I think that, again, the curiosity part is something that is critical. Of course, there is a lot of amazing universities here. That capabilities, that kind of education is super important. But more than that, really, depending on the industry that you're going to find, if you want to work for the government, I think that, again, learning on what really matters to people, it's what is going to drive your future. And I think that maybe something that I didn't touch, it's not only about those connections, the relationship just for the relationship. I think you really need to think about the kind of content, data, information that you need to create, or you need to study to have credible information that helps you, right? So learning, reading a lot, understanding the geopolitical scenario, which I know it's crazy, but we need to understand the history, right? Because what we are today is not actually today; it's actually
centuries of
course, exactly. So learning a lot about that helps you have a better view, an open view for the world. And again, when we are talking about social media, that is that sense that when you are in your Instagram account or even in other platforms, you see the world through one lens, right? You need to open that, and you need to do that. How can I say that? You really need to make that happen, because if you stay there, you are not going to make that. If you don't, you stay in your world, you are seeing the same things, but you need to be proactively searching for different perspectives. I think that is also something that is critical. It's easy to talk to someone that thinks like you, right? The hard part is talking to someone that thinks totally different, and you need to see where we are going to find the common ground, right? We need to find a place in which each one of us is comfortable, right? And you cannot do that if you are not really listening to what people say, right? So I think that is one advice, at least that I give to my kids, right? They need to be reading, they need to be seeing the world, so they really have the kind of background that will support them out there, right?
Super, super. Cristiane, thank you for
No.
gracing Pills in a Pod today. Thank you for your time. I really think, and I hope you have a great trip here in India. I
Thank
hope you come again, this time for a personal trip, maybe for a marathon, maybe to just enjoy the vibe of India, maybe to enjoy the food here.
Yeah.
I hope you tried something here.
Yes.
You did. Did you try a specific dish?
Yeah. I did. I don't know the names. The names are super hard, but I did. The team was laughing because I really love desserts, so I'm trying all the desserts everywhere that I go.
Yeah. And I hope to see you again. And I wish you a wonderful trip. And thank you again.
Thank you. No, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to share a little bit more of what we are doing at Pfizer. And again, I want to reinforce how committed we are to the country and how much we were aiming to really support India to succeed and to reach its full potential. And we know there is a lot of potential here, an amazing population, so much culture, so much history. So happy to be here. Glad to come back anytime soon.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that.
Yes. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
So that's another episode of Pills in a Pod. I think it was very different from our other episodes. I hope you enjoyed watching it. Please do send your messages to Chris. I'm sure she'll be reading all of them, and very excited to hear from our side of the world. And there's a lot of phenomenal work that she's doing here. So please send her your good wishes, and send me also your good wishes if you don't mind. And lovely to have you on this episode. Thank you.